Okay, we're gonna do a redo because I was on mute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now, ceremonial matters. We have a proclamation declaring September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Whereas September 17th, 2020 marks the 233rd anniversary of drafting the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas the United States Constitution stands as a testament to the tenacity of Americans throughout history to maintain their liberties and freedoms and to ensure those unalienable rights to every American, and whereas it is fitting and proper official to recognize this magnificent document and the anniversary of its creation. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Deborah Garnes, on behalf of the City Council of the City of Rio Dell, California, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd to be Constitution Week in the City of Rio Dell, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787. Sign this day. Okay. We usually have someone to accept it and we shake their hands, but we don't have that, so that we will move on to public presentations. This is the time for persons who wish to address the council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the council has jurisdiction. As such, a dialogue with the council or staff is not intended. Items requiring council action not listed on this agenda may be placed on the next regular agenda for consideration if the council directs, unless a finding is made by at least 2/3 of the council that the item came up after the agenda was posted and is of an urgency nature requiring immediate action. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Are there any public call-ins or emails that need to be presented?
So Rosa, can you put up the sheet again to help explain to people how to dial in and also raise their hand? And then maybe Karen could check to see if we've had any emails.
Mayor Garnes, I didn't receive any email comments. However, Fire Commissioner Barsani just stopped by to attend the meeting. He thought we were having a meeting in the council chambers, and he wanted me to relay the message that that he wouldn't be dialing in tonight because he thought it was a live meeting.
Okay.
But he did. But he just wanted to say that he did sign the final papers, and so they did join fire departments with Scotia, and so that's a done deal.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Rosa, has anyone called in? Anything? Okay.
I don't currently see any hands.
Thank you. So we will move to the consent calendar. Are there any items on the consent calendar that a member of the council wishes to remove? Councilmember Wilson?
I don't believe I do at this point. I got the wrong packet up here. I'm good.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Strawn.
Yes, so I don't have a copy of a delay letter. Did something happen there? What's happening? I guess I want to pull three.
We'll pull that. We can pull that and explain it.
Thank you.
Sure. Mayor Pro Tem Woodall.
No.
Councilmember Johnson.
I'm good.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve items 1, 2, 4, and 5?
So moved by,
move.
Is there a second? We have a motion.
Woodall.
We have a motion by Councilmember Johnson and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Woodall. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodall,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
yes.
Councilmember Strand,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Garnes.
Yes. So 1, 2, 4, and 5 pass unanimously. Councilmember Strawn, the letter is delayed because the meeting has been scheduled for September 17th. And so we will have the meeting, and if things are not to the satisfaction of the council at that time, then we will move forward. But the meeting has been scheduled.
Great. So, and you are attending and city manager is attending?
Correct. Correct.
Yes. And then it will be agendized if you don't get the answers you want or you feel we're looking for.
I would assume so, yes. I think
Thank
that's
you.
the delay is about having the meeting and seeing if we can sort through things without going to the next level.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So thank you. So would you make a motion then to delay the letter, please?
I'll make a motion to delay the letter.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Councilmember Strawn, a second from Councilmember Wilson. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodall,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Strand,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Garnes.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Reports and staff communications. Page 33.
Where the report actually starts on page 32.
Oh, I'm
Of your
sorry,
packet.
32.
Mayor Garnes, members of the council, we did have a successful petition and signature drive and letter drive for our ATP application for a bike trail at the Eel River between Edwards and Davis Streets. We got 465 petition signatures, as well as a number of letters, one of which was from Assemblymember Wood and another one was from Congressman Huffman in support of the trail. So we also received a number of other correspondence items from bicycle supporters throughout the community. And I do really want to thank everybody for their hard work on that and putting that petition together. That was all wrapped up and placed in the grant application for the ATP cycle for this year. So that has been submitted and is off to the state. So we'll keep the council updated as it progresses through the system to see if we get an award or not. And then we were also able to successfully submit our CEQA documentation for the water infrastructure material to the county clerk. There's also additional updates in your staff report. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them, or staff would be happy to answer them, and we'll return it to the mayor.
Thank you. So does anyone have a question? Questions for staff? Okay, Sue, I see you waving your hand there. Go ahead.
Kyle, how many of those signatures were from Rio Dell citizens? Do you know?
I don't.
Thank you.
I know that some of the change.org petition did auto assign locations to certain names that weren't necessarily their addresses, but it is, once it's out, the petition's out there in the world, it's open for anybody to sign anywhere in the world, including Rio Dell.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Woodall?
Yes, I have two questions for Chief. Number one, Chief, can you give us an update what went on at Shots this morning?
So I got called at home about 5 minutes after 6. I was the officer on call. The initial report was a man screaming and yelling and banging on things with a stick. However, continuing 911 calls to our dispatch center indicated that there was something more serious going on. The dispatcher at about 6:25, while I was about halfway here, sent 2 officers from Fortuna, and they arrived about 2 or 3 minutes before I did. It turned out that one of our transients, a man named Le'Veon Williams, admitted to using bath salts, and he had numerous edged weapons, which is not unusual for Mr. Williams, including a scythe and a sword that was bent into a U shape. He had entered Shots, confronted one of the employees and her boyfriend, chased the boyfriend somewhere between a half a block and a couple of blocks down the streets, throwing punches at him. It does not appear that he was armed with any of the edged weapons at that point in time. One of the patrons gave him a ride to Hobie's. The 2 Fortuna police officers and myself located him on the south end of the Eagle Prairie Bridge, and he was taken into custody. He transported to the jail without too much difficulty. He was relatively cooperative with us. There have been some, I talked to the owners of Shots. I was kind of under the impression that they were going to come to the meeting for public comment. Apparently they weren't able to get through the technology barrier, but their concerns were the length of time it took for somebody to arrive. As I mentioned, I got the call about 6:05, and it probably took me 35 minutes to get there. Initially, I was driving code 2 without lights and siren because it did not appear to be an imminent emergency. But that changed, like I said, when I was about halfway there. And we discussed the fact that currently we do not have anybody on duty between 3 and 7. And while it is not ideal for me to be on call because I live so far away, that one day a week that unfortunately does occur and will probably cease continuing when we are fully staffed in another couple of months. There was some discussion about getting a workplace violence restraining order against Mr. Williams. There was also some discussion of trying to get the Chamber of Commerce together to all issue a trespass warning to Mr. Williams so that he would not be welcome at most, if not all, of the businesses in Rio Dell in an attempt to encourage him to move to another location. There was some comment about signing a petition within the city to have him move on, but I kind of suggested that, well, you know, I encouraged her to continue, but that it would have limited value because we can't basically evict him from the city. I guess that would be, if you have any more questions, I'll try and answer them, but that's the gist of it.
No, you answered fine. I just said, you know, how you hear so many different things. I just wanted to get what really happened. And then my other question was, I noticed on the 355 Center Street, you now have foot patrols. Is that something new? I don't think I've ever, it's a great idea.
That is not necessarily, yeah, that is not necessarily new, but some of the officers are more proactive about it than others. It has been on there before. I, especially at the very beginning, did several foot patrols through there when they first opened. But mainly Crystal likes to get out of her car and walk around inside the facility and just kind of see what's going on.
Oh, great. Well, I think that's great. Thank you. And that's it.
Okay.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor Garnes. I have a question for Kyle. Do you have an anticipated time when we might hear about our proposal for the ATP grant?
I don't, off the top of my head, I do not know. I know that there's been an additional delay of 1 month for for physical paperwork to come in. So the time schedules have all been amended and changed more than once throughout this whole process. I don't know exactly when we'll hear back, but I can get back to you on that.
Thank you very much. That's all, Mayor Garnes.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilson?
Yes, I had the only question I had was on our electronic sign. Are we able to utilize that for things like the water, that we have a water cycling center, or other things that would be pertinent to our city?
Yeah, we can utilize it for any message. The sign itself is fairly limited in the number of characters that it can hold.
Yeah, I just saw it was off, so I don't know if there was messages we could put out. I think that's all I have on the.
Mayor Garnes,
Yes.
I do have another comment on Danco property, whatever we want to call it. The fire department gave me some numbers from July 20th through August 31st. They made 11 calls there, and 3 of those were for overdoses. So they're also making a number of calls on top of our police. I know they're not paid. This is a volunteer fire department, but it's also affecting our community. So hopefully you'll also take those numbers when you and city manager go to this meeting.
Could you email that to me, please?
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Also, for the police chief, Jeff, I have some campers on the river here. They've been there for a while. I've called the police department. I was wondering if there's been anyone looking on that. They're building fires, and I don't know what they're doing with their waste or what the law is for them to be camped down here, but I would really like someone to look into that.
I am unaware of a call. Can you give me some indication of where they are camped?
They're between my house and the bridge, the bridge to Fortuna, the North Bridge. They're about 3 houses up from mine.
Okay.
Towards the bridge.
I will see if I can find out who that is and what's going on there. I'm not real familiar with that area.
That'd be great. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I was wondering, there was a thing on Facebook that showed a big pile of something called a whippet that apparently kids use. I have nothing more than that, but I don't know if the police department, Chief Connor was aware of that. It was yesterday, a citizen posted it and then said that she was going to try and clean it up after she got off work, but that's, and I don't even know exactly. I know it was on the river bar, but I don't know exactly where, so I'm just making you aware of that. And I wanted to thank the city manager for putting the water station, making the water station available for evacuees. It's really anything we can do is really important. And I was unable to be on the call today, but I know yesterday the August fire was 30% contained, but it had burned over 788,880 acres, and that was yesterday. I had intended to get on the call today to have more exact numbers, but I was unable to. So anyway, it's a pretty serious deal, clearly, and I just wanted to thank the city manager for making that water station available. We are one of two, not we Rio Dell, but Humboldt County, the fairgrounds at Ferndale is one of only 2 congregate settings that they've set up for evacuees. They are trying to put people into hotel rooms because of the COVID situation. But of course, that's not available. They can't do it for absolutely everyone. So in Santa Cruz County, they stood up a congregate at their fairgrounds, and in Humboldt, they stood one up at the county, at our Ferndale County Fairgrounds. And as of yesterday, there were 50 people at the Ferndale, at the Humboldt County Fairgrounds. So that's all I have. And so I would ask if there are any public comments. Did anyone call in? Any hands raised?
Nothing on this.
Nothing. Okay, thank you. You had it up there for quite a while we were talking. So I will now move on to special presentations and update from Rio Dell School Superintendent Angela Johnson. Thank you, Angela, for being here. Superintendent Johnson for being here. Sorry, I don't know. I guess you didn't have to wait that long. So thank you for being here. Welcome, and you feel free whenever you wish to start speaking to go for it.
Well, thank you for having me tonight. And I figured out I have done a lot of Zooms, but I guess I tried Access Humboldt and that didn't really work for me. So when I tried to call in, it was a Zoom and I was like, oh, I know how to do Zoom. So I was able to hop on here. So awesome. Thank you again for having me. So just kind of a quick update for us, and then I'll leave it open for questions. We did reopen school for in-person instruction. Our first day of school was August 31st. So we opened to in-person instruction with an option of distance learning for those families that felt like that was a good option for them. At this point, we're about 65% of our families in person and about 35 distance learning. We asked that families make a 6-week commitment to distance learning. And so that has been, there's been technical issues as kids can't get on their Zoom and those types of things. But it's week 3 has been proving to be a little bit smoother and more successful. My teachers are working extremely hard. My staff is working hard. I just am really proud and thankful for everyone who has shown up and stepped up to make it be successful. So I'm expecting that at the end of the 6 weeks, we will receive some of those students back for in-person. But the county has approved our school site specific safety plan. We do our screenings. We are on a reduced day. The state has reduced daily minutes. So students are in school from 8:20 to roughly, and kindergartners leave at 12:15, and then 8th graders leave at 12:45. So they're on a staggered release based on their amount of instructional minutes, and they get lunch and go home. So it's going fairly smooth at this point. So I think the kids are excited to be back in school. Even with face masks, we are requiring masks kindergarten or TK through 8th grade. And as much as my face gets uncomfortable in a mask all day, they're great. They put them on and they don't complain about it. So it's been fairly easy. So been pretty fortunate. The state, and we did receive lots of different funding from the state in regards to different types of the CARES Act and some ESSER funds and some other funds. So we've been able to purchase things like HEPA filters for classrooms. We purchased little microphones so that the teacher can have a microphone on their mask and be amplified for all of the classrooms. We have plexiglass for teachers to be behind, as well as student plexiglass shields. And I think that's kind of it in regards to how COVID looks at school. We're trying to make it be as safe so that we can continue to stay open. at this point, I feel like things are going pretty well and fairly smooth, and one day at a time, and 1 foot forward at a time.
Well, thank you so very much for that update, and thank you for being there, and your teachers for being there. I can't even imagine, you know, the stress that you guys are under and what you're having to do with the wearing the masks all day. That's not an easy thing to do. So thank you.
Yeah, I would just say really quick, you know, just an acknowledgement to Rio Dell Fire Department, speaking of kind of masks all day. That Rio Dell Fire Department had donated tables for our school. So we have the opportunity our teachers have scheduled kind of an outdoor learning environment. So we took tables and set them up in all of the different areas of the field. So classrooms do take, you know, masks breaks outside where they can be distanced and get to be outside, so that they're not necessarily in a mask all day, but they are in a mask for a good majority of their day. But a lot of appreciation to our fire department who let us borrow those tables and helped us load them up and bring them down to the school to try to just give a lot of kids varieties and an ability to take their masks off during their day.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Are there any questions? I'll run down the row. Councilmember Wilson?
Yeah, just do you have a plan for the winter when it's raining type situations, when the weather turns on us?
Well, we kind of experienced a little bit of the turn of the weather in regards to not being able to be outside the last few days with the unhealthy air quality. So at this point, you know, they're in their classrooms and they can kind of walk in the covered walkways. But we also have our gym space, since we're serving grab and go lunches. Our gym is open for the day. So we've allowed, you know, students to be able to get into the gym and use that for a movement space. It is an inside space, so we do still require that they do wear their masks. So.
That's all I have. Again, I applaud you for the effort, and we appreciate the job that you're doing for our kids. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson?
Well, it sounds to me like Angela's making very good lemonade out of a bunch of bad lemons. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Strawn.
Yeah, Angela, great job. We appreciate this great report. And I also understand you have air purifiers, which is fantastic during this time with all the fires, and great for the kids also. Thank you for all you're doing for our community.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Woodall.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Angela and the board for making it possible for our kids to somewhat get back to normal by being able to go to school. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public who called in or wish to speak? Or anyone, staff member that wishes to say anything?
I currently see no hands raised.
Okay, thank you.
And no emails.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Superintendent Johnson. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I appreciate your update, and absolutely appreciate everything you're doing, and stay safe and stay healthy. That's all we can hope for.
That's right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Sure. Take care. And so that brings us to council reports. Mayor Pro Tem Woodall.
Only thing I have to say is that there's a nuisance abatement meeting tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And if you're listening and you want to participate in it, you can call the office in the morning and get the phone numbers and the Zoom number.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
I think we got some special call items and ordinances and resolutions to go through before we get to the.
Oh, Councilmember Johnson, I'm sorry. The city manager, and I guess you weren't on the call at that time, and I failed to restate it. The two items were pulled, both were pulled.
Oh, thank you very much.
The county is unable to be here, was unable to be here, the gentleman from the county. And Director Caldwell called in and asked to pull this item because he's sick and wanted to pull it until our next meeting. I apologize for not having stated that in open session.
Thank you very much. Well, the only thing that I have to report is that the Last Chance Grade group will be getting together tomorrow afternoon via Zoom, and I'll be giving you an update in the future about that discussion. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilson?
Yes, we had an HWMA meeting, and the major topic of HWMA was CRV buyback, which you could, as you all know, last time we said, yippee, they're going to open it up and start buying it back, and that lasted about 3 days. The problem being that there was a 2 to 3 hour wait in line to get into the HWMA, and then once you were in there, there was an hour time to go through the process. And so with all the traffic constraints and issues associated with that, with Public Works and all, they suspended it again. And they gave us kind of a detailed report of how this thing is really working. And one of the things that has come to the knowledge of us as a public, when and I don't want to make this be complicated, but when the CRV money itself is paid out by the bottler of the beverage that's in the CRV bottle. So when Coca-Cola bottles a 6-pack of soda, they pay the Cal Recycle that 5 cents a bottle. That total number of dollars that's paid to Cal Recycle accounts to about 1.6 billion with a B dollars annually. Then in turn, they give back a small portion of that to the counties, about 10,000 a county, and then there's some other areas they give out some money, but it's a very insignificant amount in comparison to the 1.6 billion. When you take your beverage bottle back to a recycling center, they give you what theoretically the nickel that you paid. They don't get any of that money back from the state that they pay out. All they get is the empty beverage bottle or container. And so then it's up to the recycling center to sell that for whatever they can recoup out of it. And currently the amount of money that you can get for an aluminum can is if you sell it back, it's a nickel a can. And so there's if they sell it, it's 32 cents a pound in aluminum is what they're able to sell that for. There are roughly 30 cans in a pound of aluminum. So when you take your can to a recycling center, they pay you $1.50 for the cans they purchase from you, and then they have the opportunity to sell out for 30 some cents a pound, about 5 to 1, 4 to 1, depending on the price of aluminum. And glass and plastic is a whole lot worse than the cans. And so at the end of this conversation, where I'm getting to is the private individuals, Recology and Humboldt Sanitation, as private entities, elected to simply not, spend 5 times the money that they're spending, just that along with the recycling activities. And so they can, as a private individual, in which they have done, they're decertifying being collection agencies. This in turn gives 3 times as many, essentially, people to bring it to Humboldt Waste Management. And so it's turning into a very overwhelming situation. Rex Bones with the county is trying to work out a way to help stage this and do it so we can bring people in by appointment. However, Cal Recycle is not the most cooperative people in the world to deal with. They don't return phone calls. they tell you basically no, and they refer back to, you have to get the legislation changed to change their system. And so there is overall consensus in the meeting that Cal Recycle is asking cities and counties to fix a busted system. And it's a very expensive busted system. And so bear with Humboldt Waste Management. They're doing the best they can. My recommendation is you don't buy things that need CRV. I would consider myself, we just take our recycling, we just put it in the recycle bin, and we don't gonna try to get our nickel back. And that's not a correct thing, that we've been charged a nickel and we have to eat it. But all things considered in the times that we're in, that's the situation.
So Frank, is so the two companies here are not, that's not representative then of the entire state. They're recycling places that are actually open and others in other places, or?
There's very few, there's a lot of places that are closed because like I say, the stores and grocery stores, they pay this nickel that the bottler charges that they give to Cal Recycle, and then they pass the price on to the customer. So it's just kind of, when you go in and buy it, you're paying that extra cost.
Right.
And all these recycling agencies around the state are shut down. There's people in the Crescent City area, they only do CRV. The other part that HWMA does and other bigger recycling entities, they're recycling, they're bringing in all kinds of other recycling material, and they subsidize, HWMA subsidizes their cost to a tune of about $750,000 a year that they have to spend in addition to the money they get back when they sell the recycled goods. And that in turn is charged to the solid waste that is brought to the HWMA through the garbage trucks and through the franchisers. It's all funneled through HWMA, which in turn is hauled over the roads to, they're going to White City, Oregon, right? And so it's not a real good positive situation. And the companies that just simply do CRV, they're paying 3 to 5 times what the value of what they can sell it for as well. And so they consequently will go out of business, and everybody's stuck with bags of garbage. So
thank you.
I don't know.
So, and I think I have no report to give other than the phone call thing. Sue, I'll wait. I'll definitely take that information on to the call on Thursday. And I think that's it. So is there a motion to adjourn?
Johnson moves for adjournment.
There's a second.
Works for me.
All right, that works for me. Meeting adjourned. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
You too. Did you get the email?
What was the question?
Did you get the email?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't looked at my emails.
Okay, I sent it.
Okay, thanks, Sue.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
Good night.